now. Hello and welcome to our latest edition of a fantastic podcast around the console, where tonight, well, to be honest, people, I thought we were going to be reviewing the pre-party event for Eurovision that was riding off the back of Sam Ryder's amazing Spaceman song titled Space Baby. But no, instead we're reviewing the latest season of Doctor Who. Interesting thoughts ahead, perhaps. I am your host, Craig, and I am joined as always around the console by yourself, my good friends Cliff, Suky, Bob, and John. Hello, people.
Hello.
That was an incredible opening.
That was really good.
There was very little prep involved. I was aware of that, but
I want to do the Eurovision podcast now. I do.
Eurovision was great.
Did they show both episodes before Eurovision live?
Yes, both live. Yeah, that's when I watched them.
Cool.
So I did. Yeah, it was a phenomenal night on paper. It was Doctor Who Eurovision, i.e. naked dancers. It was brilliant. It was a dream. It was a dream. But was it a dream, Bob, or was it a total nightmare? That's the question we're going to ask. So we're going to go round the table, around the console, as always, with your first thoughts. Now, I don't know who to go to first on this. So actually, I'm going to go to John. First thoughts on this.
Wow. Well. Oh dear. Let's get these thoughts in order. I'm positive about the whole Suky Gatwa being there and Gatwa, whatever his name is, and I was interested before the series started where we're going to go and how it's going to be, but I have to be brutally honest and say the first two episodes were a bit too daft for me and a little bit they had interesting moments, but I felt as though they were just kind of like a bit out there. I didn't feel like there was enough seriousness in it. The giggle thing was in the second one. That was kind of the callback to the pre-Stevie starting, but I didn't feel like there was any particular threat. I didn't feel like there was any particular. I didn't want it to be darker. Well, yeah, I did. I wanted it to be darker. Yeah. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm struggling to be really positive about these episodes. So I think we should move on to somebody else.
Absolutely. I will move on and I shall go to Suky, who traditionally will bounce back with something positive, but we don't know tonight.
Well, yeah, no, it is quite positive. I mean, I did enjoy the second episode more than I enjoyed the first one. But I understand what was happening with the first one with the Disney audience. I liked most of it, and I liked the Suky Gatwa and Millie Gibson dynamic. But some of it just didn't gel, and there was bits in the second episode were a bit, as John said, silly, and maybe took me out a bit. But on the whole, it was. I enjoyed them.
Ooh, that was grudging, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit forced. I think he was trying to be positive there, but we'll see as we'll go a bit deeper. Bob, what's your thinking on this?
Well, I got home from a gig at 11:30 and I was refreshing the iPlayer. This unique experience now, Doctor Who is Disney worldwide, where they do it 2-episode drops and things like that. So it's a bit unusual to watch Doctor Who this way, but it was exciting. So I got in. Deb's watched it with me as well. So we were on the WhatsApp chat. Me and Suky, he was at work watching Doctor Who.
I was not at work. How dare you say that? I was home in bed watching it.
Sorry, he was in his spare room, which happens to look like a sorting office at the post office. So yeah, we were excited, and we absolutely. I love Space Babies. I thought it was a lot of fun. Me and Deb's both laughing at it. Being parents as well, it sort of helps a bit, for the daftness, and they were dead cute and all that. So that was a lot of fun. But it was just a lot of fun fluff. It was cool. Looked good. Devil's Card, lost interest, to be honest with you, doing that one. It was Yeah, I watched it a second time. It's all right. I think basically Shooty. I don't see the Doctor in Shooty at all. Really. Well, I see it in parts, but then he just is not the Doctor, and it takes me out of it. So I think there's maybe an issue with I can't. He's taking me out of it as the Doctor because I don't fully see him as the Doctor or the character of the Doctor that I have known for all my life. Not he's not bad. I'm not here to slag him off at all. I think he's a tremendous actor and all them things, but I'm not seeing him particularly as a Doctor. So overall, really positive. It looked great. You know, there's some cool ideas in there, a lot of fun. But we're here to sort of give deeper thoughts than that than just watching it as television, even though it is just television. So yeah, bit mixed. And I think my main thing is it's Shooty, just not quite. He's not quite there for me. I mean, what's her name? Millie Gibson, Ruby Sunday. She's fine because we've seen her before. You know, she's basically Rose and Clara or whatever. That's cool. You know, and she's very good at doing Rose and Clara. But yeah, I really want to gel with Shooty, and hopefully that'll happen. But even when he's saying the words of classic Doctor Who, it feels forced. Like, here's the word you have to say, but you don't know what they mean. And I kind of get that vibe from him. I don't know. It's just, he's not. I don't dislike him.
It's slightly
it's
the opposite for me because I do see him as a Doctor. I think because that is the one part of these 2 episodes that I was fine with Shooty as the Doctor. I could see the Doctor in him. Just eccentricities, but a mix of a bunch of them and an extra one on top.
Can I just
text me out of it? Sorry,
can I just ask Cliff? Yeah, can we just ask Cliff what he thought because he's not yet told us his initial thinking, Cliff Down.
Yeah, the baby one, that was a laugh. It was fun. Felt more of a Sarah Jane story, pointing for kids. Felt a bit daft, but fun. The second one, I enjoyed it, but I feel like they overdid themselves with the writing, really, because if you're going to do something and include the momentous of the Beatles, and you're not allowed to use any of the songs, then it's fucking stupid. You might as well have not bothered doing it because it's just a bit of a waste. But the actual connection of Doctor, I thought it does well. It is a complete spin on it. I see where Bob's coming from, but I feel like he's got his own path, and you can see that he's making his own path in each of the stories. I just think this is typical RTD. You show the first one fun, camp, and enjoyable. The second one, he's gone a bit darker in bits, not as much as I wanted him to, because he had a really good story in the background there where he could have made it a lot darker.
Yeah.
But then they flipped it and they did the song and dance at the end, and it made me think, did they know it was going to go out on the same night of Eurovision to jump on everybody's Eurovision, campness? I don't know. But
no, because he wanted to go out earlier, didn't he? He wanted it out much earlier than this, but some special effects problems, so he has no. He has no.
But it did blend in quite well. I'm not knocking them because it makes me excited for the next.
Very mixed. For myself, you know me, always Mr. Positive. When I watched these on Saturday night, I was heartbroken. I must admit, I thought they were terrible. I didn't like. I didn't.
Wow.
Whoa!
I've had to cancel it. Yeah,
that's the podcast over. Let's go on.
Make a note of the time and date of this one.
I didn't like them. I thought they were silly. I thought they were camp. I thought they were just like High School Musical. I was literally cringing at the end of The Devil's Chord when he was doing the dance and they were doing that walking across. And I really didn't like them at all. Now that was first viewing, as always. Since then, our lovely neighbour came around last night, Jen, who really enjoyed it. I spoke to a good friend, Michael, who is a listener of the podcast.
Hi, Michael.
He enjoyed them.
Hi, Michael.
He'll be listening tonight if it goes out tonight. And they both really enjoyed it. And I kind of was chatting with them about what they thought. And I rewatched it almost, I have to say, quite grudgingly this morning because we were doing the podcast. I really enjoyed them on a second viewing. I did enjoy them. They are definitely silly. They're definitely camp. It is what I was expecting, but it was worse than I was expecting. Devil's Chord, exactly what Cliff said. There was a good story in there, but it was just lost in all the silly High School Musical Disneyfication of it.
I think you'd be wary about thinking of this as Disneyfication, all these things. These are just RTD doing his thing, I think.
Yeah, I think it's RTD being trying to appeal too much to a wider audience, which he did with the first lot. Remember, Chris Eccleston first was a bit daft.
Well, the thing is, remember this Disney thing. There has been notes that he's had to be passed on to him, and one of the probably was that this is going to go worldwide, not just in countries that Doctor Who's been shown previously. It's also going into countries that Disney Plus have got a presence in, and they're going to be shown there for the first time. So they need these people to come up to basically scratch as to some of the what the Doctor is, what the TARDIS is, and all this sort of stuff. So you had that first 10 minutes of exposition of just basically info dump after info dump after info dump, which I didn't mind because we sort of had it in rows the very first episode.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
we had it in there.
There seemed to be more of this though on this episode. It was like he was talking about himself living across the road. There was a lot more. It took a lot. It took him till David Tennant to actually mention the planet Gallifrey. Whereas in this, we had the whole Gallifrey adoption, TARDIS.
I have noticed that he's doing a lot of callbacks and references to old Who. Yeah, I think they've been very liberally sprinkled in there.
Yeah,
I think that's why we're getting so.
They feel a bit jarring and not shouldn't be in there. Like he's just saying these things, but it doesn't feel quite right.
He's telling a brand new assistant.
Oh no, I get it.
But also, he's obviously. Suky's Doctor is going to be he's treating the companions in a different way.
Yes,
being more open.
They're fully, yes.
Because every time you talk about the Doctor in the past, he's a secretive bastard with loads of secrets. This is a much more open one. So
and especially because he's got something in common. That's the common denominator between him and Ruby, isn't it? The fact that they're both foundlings, and that's the thing that's coming through. And I quite like that as a bit of a story out. But that's the honesty that is his Doctor.
I think also.
Sorry.
Well, I was going to say.
No, you go.
I was going to say he's been left a massive story from Chris, hasn't he? The fact that he's adopted. Where's he actually originally from? So the last few of Jodie, she just like chucked that bloody watching the thing, didn't she? Forgot about it.
Yes.
And it feels like RTD wants to address it, which is good because as fans, you're like, come on, what are you going to do with that? So hopefully that moves out. And he has.
Well, I think the bi-generation was that for that reason. I think.
Yeah.
The other thing
he's really
maybe he's just been because Ruby's going through the same thing. It's brought him back to the front again. So he's now got somebody who's he can identify with. So he's bringing all this information from the past and being.
I think the Timeless Child is right at the heart of his new series about adoption and find out who he is. But he's not doing it. It's not
going to be the driving thing of the season.
No,
but he's not avoiding it.
Ruby's the one, isn't it? But he's not as cagey as Jodie. He wants to talk about the past, which he never really did.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the stuff that he's saying, the sort of classic stuff, like I say, to me, it felt forced and like he was just saying the words off the script and didn't know really what they meant, and that's fine. It's kind of like trying to give the classic fans sort of do some appeasing to the classic fans by saying the Rani or Susan lives over there or the Bishop and all these other things as well. But I kind of want to, if we can, kick off with the Devil's Chord, because, as you've all said, really interesting idea. The fact if we didn't have music, and it's right, if we didn't have music, the world would be a much duller place. And I find the whole idea fascinating.
The mechanism of getting rid of the music, though, was a bit. Well, that was stretched.
It was stretched, but I like this idea of these crazy legions of the Toymaker. So the Maestro is this.
I think they're going to
This whole like crazy idea of the Toymaker and these just making all these stories slightly more surreal and quirky and crazy. I kind of like it, and I thought Maestro was quite good, but if it is music or if it is embodying music, I think my issue was there was no dynamics to the character. It was all just one big tone. There was tonal shifts from the point of view as in, trying to be nice and nasty and all that kind of stuff, but there was no dynamics. And now in music, I love dynamics. You know, the sort of subtlety, the rising, the crescendo. I just felt there was just one volume, even though it was quite an all right character,
It's a very interesting point you just made there.
Oh, I'm not sure I agree with that,
No,
Bob,
I
actually,
don't.
I agree.
because there was such a different tonal range of music. You had the beautiful.
No, not the music. I mean,
the performance.
Oh, sorry.
the
No,
yeah,
I'll
'cause
agree with that. Yeah, I do
if
agree with that.
Maestro was
Yeah.
the embodiment of music,
The irony
you know,
that she wasn't. Yeah.
yeah,
she was.
just
She was.
this-
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that was one of the issues I had. But parts, I thought it was a great character and a great idea. I love this. Like I said, I love this legion of the toy maker having
Yeah, I
these
like that.
crazy different characters. There's so much. I think more. If, for example, if Moffat had have done it, and I saw it, or Chibnall, or it wasn't this Disney money or whatever it is, you could have had this incredible story rather than just whatever it was. Because there were some scenes which were amazing, like when it went silent, they did the tuning fork thing.
I didn't get
I mean,
that.
No.
That was so cool.
That's one of the things I didn't like. I love the special effects. But why
yeah.
did this? Why could the water and the tuning fork break the Doctor's silence? I didn't understand that.
Frequency. It's
Frequency,
interference.
yeah.
It's all about sound.
Now that's a musician's thing, because I didn't.
No, it's
get
not.
it.
It's just basic fucking
Is it?
science, is what it is. But yeah, I get your
Oh,
point.
I have Craig science,
Yeah.
but I
there was-
literally didn't understand that.
It was good, and I like the whole thing where you went to now, and it was all destroyed London, and that looked quite cool,
Yeah,
and all that kind of thing. I think the Beatles, it was a bit. I get why they used the Beatles from a promotion point of view, but
as a positive, when they went to get changed and came back out in their gear, they looked fucking good.
Yeah,
And that whole little bit walking around the TARDIS.
Yes,
like,
they did.
Yeah, you bossed that. That was one of the. But the way the episode falls down is like as you say, the Maestro is a really interesting kind of not a nemesis, a villain sort of thing that is weirdly, as Bob says, tonally monotone, despite this being this embodiment of music. And it didn't help. The worst thing in the world ever is when somebody's playing a musical instrument, an actor is playing a musical instrument, and they're clearly fucking not. And that breaks me every time. It's not. I'm not asking them to learn how to play the instrument, but I'm asking the director to not fucking show that to me because it breaks it. Yeah. And also the musical notes.
Oh yes,
they look very like Disney animations.
Yeah,
I felt very much like it was like fucking Snow White and loads of birds and tweety things, and that was kind of and then it obviously fell into absolute absurd with the ridiculous musical number at the end, which was like completely unnecessary, and it sounded and felt very much like we've got to fill the last 6 minutes. What we're going to do? Let's do a musical number.
What they miss?
Okay, let's just talk about this. Yeah, go on, Cliff. What do you think about the
musical number?
Yes or no?
For that musical number, the music shit was for it as well.
Well, I think what's missing is the child. He comes to the door and opens the door. It's the same.
That's the twist, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they didn't really emphasize it.
Twist.
Nothing
happened.
A bit more. I know, but that's it. They didn't do anything with it. They just sort of went and turned into a Glee number. I thought that was a bit stupid.
Yeah,
I left you with no more fear of what the next one's coming. What's the next toy maker person?
I've just had a great image of one of our older doctors, number 3 perhaps, doing a musical number.
No, I could see
in a unit
base
somewhere. Just maybe all the soldiers joining in and doing tap dance and stuff.
I've been watching John Pertwee in Wurzel Gummidge, and there's a whole musical episode there with Barbara Windsor and Una Stubbs and Billy Connolly.
We've had Sylvester with his spoons, we've had Capaldi with his guitar. Now we've got Shooty with his full-on band, haven't we? But
this is like is that the second or third one in which we had a full musical number in there?
Well, we had the Gunfighters as well. There's musical numbers in that.
Your favorite?
What did you think of? I hate that. What did you think about Suky? Sorry, that was really venomous. Suky, what do you think about the musical number? Did you do it for you or not?
No, it didn't.
Did you enjoy it?
I didn't mind it as such, and there is a story explanation which has been given, but not within the story. In that there's still residual energy from Maestro still lying around. So all the music was suddenly coming to life, and so people were expressing their joy, and they started singing and dancing. How it became a choreographed musical number is anybody's guess, but I didn't mind it. I really did not mind it. The little harbinger, the little Henry Harbinger. I think that's just a little foreboding that there's still stuff going on, and more people will come to to face off with the Doctor. So that's all going to come. The Maestro performance, the Maestro performance, Jinx Monsoon, I did not mind his performance or their performance. He's just at that level where there was a lot of menace, a lot of venom, you could say as well. But to me, it just didn't go over the edge into full on, shittery, basically being shit. They were just at the right level of being okay or good. And I really enjoyed them be at that performance. So that's why that second episode was a lot better to me than the first. Bob said earlier at the beginning as well, Shooty and Millie. The Shooty, sometimes I've seen the Doctor in it, and sometimes I'm not. Again, there's bits where I'm just thinking that does not.
That's what I would say. It's caution to that. We're only a couple of episodes into the Shooty campaign.
Exactly.
I reckon a lot of people would have had the same feeling about Jodie, about Capaldi, about everybody for the first few episodes.
I think with me, I can go back through every single Doctor, and whether I like them or not, which I pretty much do every time, I saw the Doctor in them. Whereas Shooty does his thing, but he takes me out of it. Now, the sort of mincing around or whatever, the sort of thing. Pertwee did that. Baker did that. They're not my favourite Doctors. My favourite Doctors are a certain type. The Patrick Troughton, the Sylvester McCoy, and the Matt Smith. My Doctor is a quirky, crazy, cosmic hobo, whereas Shooty is he's more Pertwee. A camper Pertwee kind of thing. And when he does stuff like says babes and he has this younger tone or younger vocabulary, I cringe. He takes me out of it.
It's fam.
But then
isn't it like fam?
Yeah,
that would take me out of it when they were doing that.
Fam never sort of did it for me, but there's just ways he acts that I'm just a bit like, modern. But that's just me being a bit old.
Is it like when he winks at the camera? Because I must admit, all the winking at the camera is driving me insane. Because Maestro did it, he does it, and it just breaks that fourth wall. It's like it brings us out of reality.
It also, if you overuse something, it doesn't become special. So if it had been a once in a blue moon thing, it would be more noticeable.
See, I'm thinking that fourth wall. I was just going to say, sorry, I was just going to say that fourth wall breaking. I think that's got to be part of a storyline that's going to come into play later on. Because Mrs. Flood did it, Maestro's just done it, the Doctor's done it. So there's got to be something in play where somebody is observing these adventures. These stories.
What's the name of the villain that the Maestro mentioned?
The boss, is it?
The one who waited.
The one who waited.
Yeah.
But didn't a load of Doctor Who fans wait for so many years for Doctor Who to come back? Aren't they watching? Are they the ones who waited? And is that why he's referring to the fourth wall?
I like that.
Fucking theory out of fucking nothing.
Maybe the biggest villain is the old fans that can't cope.
Well, maybe that's one interpretation, yeah.
The other thing I'm thinking about with this fourth wall is the land of fiction. Remember we covered that story, the Mind Robber?
Yes.
Many, many years ago. And that was all, fictionalized. And so I'm just wondering if this is maybe set in that time or that character of the Master.
So do you think do you think these musical numbers and things are basically because he's trapped in some sort of weird Glee dimension?
Not just the Glee dimension, it's just a dimension with these creatures.
I think the Mind Robber, the Celestial Toymaker, that kind of thing, this sort of slightly off universe of madness. I like the fact we're going there. I think it's cool. But yeah, I just to reiterate about Shanty, there's most of him I quite like. I think it's just little bits that he does that take me out that I'm not quite used to in a Doctor, and that's fine because he's fresh, he's new. He's probably what we need
as well, isn't it? Every Doctor's got to be different. So that's the thing. That's so his quirky nature might be. Some elements of his character might not be things that gel with you in the sense that other Doctors, like Capaldi, being a bit too blunt and aggressive.
Yeah, the important thing is, Bob, is to not make a snap judgment early on in
No. Like I said,
No,
I don't dislike
I'm not
it.
saying that that's what happened with you and Geordie initially. And that
I
bringing
think
that up
Bob's
for
been
no
very
reason.
positive so
But,
far.
but you
no,
learned from that, didn't you? So give
with
yourself some
Geordie,
time.
I love Geordie.
Give
For
yourself
the
some time
first
and you'll be
four,
back.
4 or 5
Now-
episodes at first. I loved Geordie, and then it was the stories that I just lost it because we
Yeah.
were reviewing them. But then it's all changed. We know this, and and I
Now-
quite like this fun new take on Doctor Who, and I think it's refreshed and it's something that we're not quite used to,
I think
from a show. But it's
Just-
cool. It's fine.
I think you've got it
Go on,
there
Cliff, you-
on the head. It's refreshed, and I think that's what he wanted to do. So he's turned it completely on its head. So he has changed it in a way that it's more appealing, or he's trying to get more appeal to everyone. But I think as it goes on, we know how RTD is. These little changes he does and the things what's happening in the background with Ruby, which is an amazing story. You've got the toy maker and all these disciples or whoever as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got something coming
Got
up.
the story arc already,
And I
haven't
think
you? You can see it.
It's the Bad Wolf from
Yeah.
the second season, isn't it?
Yeah.
It does feel very RTD
My-
with the key and the mobile phone and things like
And
that. You
I'm
can
hoping
literally
it gets
see.
more and more serious, just like his.
Mike,
first season.
you're
I
probably
think
right.
it will. Suky, go on,
If you
Dan.
look back at both Rose, Martha, and Donna, they all
Yeah.
started off with quite light adventures and stuff,
Yeah,
and then suddenly built up with dark. And this,
yeah, like
it-
Rose
I've got to do
Martha's
with
was
the
Jadoon on the
eight
moon. It was
episode series.
bonkers.
Yeah.
Can I ask a
I
question?
just-
Can I ask a question? If right with these examples, episodes as examples, if the Doctor in some later episode was reminiscing about that time when they fought the Maestro, is that musical number a part of his memory? Is that a thing that happened, or is that just a thing at the end of a TV show? Because I don't know whether he can justify narratively in his. It's not important that he has to. This is just I'm thinking out of the box here.
I know what you mean.
Does that now constitute something that actually physically happened?
Or just a bit of daft at the end of
Or
a
was
TV
it just
show.
a bit? Because if it's just a bit of daft at the end of a TV show, then I'm quite happy with it.
Now, I would have said it was just something that just something that was part of the Doctor's imagination, except for that little bit where Henry Arbinger appears.
comes through the
Yeah,
door.
I think
then-
it happened. Yeah.
Why does that?
That's. I think the Henry Abinger thing was just because she's not gone. This is just it's still happening.
And we
That's
know
all
this
that
Doctor
was.
loves music because he's got his jukebox in the TARDIS. So let's face it, if you're at the studios and you've got all these famous musicians around you like Cilla Black and the Beatles,
Oh, yeah, Cilla.
have a party.
I was disappointed in Scylla. She wasn't
Yeah.
scouse enough.
The songs were funny. It did make me laugh. And
The songs were good. Yeah, I like that.
Millie, the Doctor and Ruby's reaction was very funny when the Beatles did "I Love My Dog," and they're both just looking, going, "What the fuck?" And then the second one, when the orchestra one was the best, and he just sort of the Doctor starts bending down, going, "I can't listen." She just sort of pats him on the back. There was some really funny.
There
parts
was
in both
good
of them.
moments in both.
And it's a
episodes.
nice way of saying this isn't right. But unlike Chibnall, that everything was explained in micro detail, this was just that's all it took. The looks between them, and you knew it wasn't right.
But
I love Chibnall. You know I
that
do.
took me out
Never gonna
altogether was the original person that got taken. It was in 1925, and this was set in 1963, which is like 38 years later. What has it just been dull music since then?
Yes.
Or what?
That's the idea.
Around that
hence the wars with
around
Finland
that time is the source of rock and roll. It's all it's 20s blues. I mean, that even isn't the real source of it all, but that's when it's kind of the blues started and the African American music started. So that's why we get that was the start of the Beatles. That was their precursors.
But if that music didn't exist as such, how did John and Paul have the sort of music that would?
It wasn't. It doesn't exist. It's just. It was
different than what it was.
Different.
dull music.
So they
And
still want it.
Listen to the Smiths on repeat.
Yeah, he does explain it though, because
they didn't want to be there. They didn't want to do it. They thought it was embarrassing and hated it.
Yeah, a bit like writing 80s Doctor Who.
I think the reason they still created a band was that bit in the canteen where the Doctor's talking to him and he's trying to get further into him, and he finds out the music's still there inside him.
Yes.
So the fact that they got together as a group it's like
And it's a,
part of their life. They needed to do it.
and it's the fact that the music's there, but it's like hidden from people expressing it, or at least it's.
Which is a bit like what happened to Ruby, because she had the hidden song, didn't she, when she tried to kill her and she heard the Christmas music inside of the hidden layer.
It's the same.
I love that piece of music.
I hate
That's out of Home Alone, isn't it?
It is Home Alone. That's exactly what I think.
It would be far less. It'd be far more interesting if it was Ding Dong Merrily on High that played at that scene.
But what I liked about
Jingle
it was that sort of 1984 kind of vibe to any music that was any good. You know, was like sort of militarized, if you like. You know, like it was like being Jewish in World War II or pre-World War II. You know, something like that. It was this whole quite dystopian vision of music. There can be no joy. There can be no joy. That's what it was. No fun, no joy, no music, because that's what music does give.
I'm not quite sure how that benefits the maestro or what they get out of it, really.
No, I mean,
and the whole mechanism of it all was daft. But Well, as you say, it's an interesting concept. It was approached from a weird angle for me.
I quite like that when he took Millie to the reality of life if Maestro wasn't defeated. So it kind of, normally in old Who, you'd have been told that, but it was really nice, quick trip in the TARDIS. This is actually what it is like if we don't change it. Yeah, and it kind of, I thought it was clever for a younger audience, perhaps, to make them stop thinking, oh, well, everything's okay. Because that's the classic Doctor Who line, isn't it? We've heard that before. Everything's okay. I'm still here. Go on, Suky down.
Except for Sarah Jane Smith and Tom Baker in Pyramids of Mars, when he took her back to the future.
Yeah.
That's the only time I think it's ever happened in classic Who. Right, where the consequences of whatever actions they take in that present moment.
Knowledge bomb by Suky.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, remember, I've just this is my 4th podcast discussing these episodes this weekend. Yes.
You did. So hang on.
Such a fucking
we have a golden rule of not talking about it before the podcast.
Yeah, but you don't listen to my other podcast, so you ain't going to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Yeah.
I know, right into your podcast.
What have you done? Like you've done Check This Out, which is a Star Trek podcast, which I started and produced and created.
I did all the art, and I did all the art for
all the artwork for and
I took it on to greater things.
Yeah,
go on. So what else have you done?
Then there's
your moment to shine.
Yeah, then there's Miles's podcast. Doctor Who's Line Is It Anyway?
And then
there was.
He's never invited me on. Don't like him anymore.
Never invited me
on. Popped on any time on Saturday. There's only me and Deb on there with him. And then the Custard TV podcast, which is a TV review show. And we had to discuss the Doctor Who episodes, plus The Gathering, which is Channel 4 show, plus Bodkins, which is Netflix, and the other one was Dark Matter, which is another TV show.
Why do you must be bored of us. I feel quite humble you had time to fit us in here, darling.
Yeah, thanks for fitting us in.
This is why he falls asleep during D&D and stuff like that.
Anyway, away from stuff. Right, I've got to ask, because at this point, when I was watching it first time around, I was totally cringing already by the song. And then they walk back across the zebra crossing.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking about. Is that a real memory? Is that a thing he will say? Do you remember that time we stepped on the Abbey Road things and they played music and stuff?
Like in Big.
Like in Big.
Yeah. That's what I said earlier on. There's still residual energy from Maestro being around.
But it was cheesy and
yeah, that was a bit too stupid.
It was too, and even the tiny door doing that kind of double close.
Actually, that's a good answer, Suky. I will take that on board, and I could get that
residual energy.
Did you notice when they did the walk across? They had the beetle in the background as well from the actual.
Oh yeah, they didn't they? Have a beetle, yeah.
The period setting, the period dress, the period clothing, the period hair.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Yeah, it was really good.
I know I've already said it. But, sorry.
I was going to say I've got something incredibly important to say. June Hudson was in it.
Yes, I was going to say something great.
Hang on,
not just June Hudson.
Who else?
There was Strictly Come Dancing. You had Johannes and you had Shirley Ballas.
I don't know who they are.
I mean, can you really get any camper than that?
You had Murray Gold in there as well.
Oh, Murray Gold was in there as well. Yeah, he was
playing the piano. Where was Murray?
Yeah.
Was he playing the piano? Yeah.
There was some lovely nods, but yes, June was amazing. See, that was a great.
That's a criticism for me. Is Murray Gold's music for this episode? These episodes.
Is he back again?
Oh God, yeah.
Can't you
Yeah.
tell?
You could
It
tell.
was very in his
It's,
face.
every
Yeah.
time he does one, it
In your
goes like
face.
if he's doing it for the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it is. It's very much like that, but also it didn't work well in an episode about the death of music to have all this schmaltzy
Music.
orchestral stuff in the background of it.
Yeah.
That needed to be more controlled.
It would have been better
If
if
it'd
he
be
just
something
left it
appropriate.
silent. No,
Yeah.
that would have been
Mm.
freaky. It would have been
Or
like,
just a
But-
simple little tune that didn't do
and then
anything.
when something happened, like he was talking to the guy at the canteen, just something comes up in the background to say like, "Oh, music is still there."
But people's palate ears or ear palettes are now used to a drench of music in a lot of the
Yes.
sort of popular TV shows. I'm not going to say all TV shows, but popular TV shows.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Should have David Lynch do a Doctor Who. He wouldn't have.
Yeah,
just
Yes, they should let David Lynch do
just
Doctor
an
Who.
industrial soundscape with the
I mean,
occasional
imagine-
passing train.
Imagine
Sound of
if-
electricity.
Just imagine if David Lynch had done this episode. It would
Oh
be
my God.
unreal.
Oh,
Unreal.
if David Lynch got hold of one Doctor Who episode, it would
it'd be
blow your
amazing.
fucking mind. It would.
Because they're trying to be a bit weird in this, trying to be a bit out there and different.
I
Well,
know,
they're not,
but
because
that's
we
nothing.
watch
That's
David
nothing.
Lynch stuff. And we've reviewed all of David Lynch
Sheps,
stuff. We
Shep,
know what clever
just-
weird is.
Just stepping out of the Doctor Who thing. Shep, did you recently watch another David Lynch film?
Yeah, Inland Empire.
Is that the most bizarre, unfathomable film ever?
Still can't understand
yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
Is that the one?
I've-
Is that the one they did on shit cameras?
yeah. Yes, Bob, it is.
It's the one that you bought twice because you thought you had a
Yeah.
dodgy copy.
It's a fucking dodgy copy. I'm buying it again. It was just terrible. Camera work.
Anyway,
Sorry.
those babies' mouths for
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, we've
Just,
talked
just
about
before,
that.
just
Space
before you go
Babies,
on to
yeah.
back onto Space Babies, the one thing that I quite enjoyed was the bit where Maestro, after he's killed the music teacher, he starts playing the first bars of the
Yes, I
thing,
like
Yeah,
that.
and
as
then
well.
it kicks
Yeah.
straight into the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that was a
John,
nice
go on,
link up.
Space Babies.
Space Babies, yeah, okay. Thoughts on this one? Because obviously this is his second story, so it's a season opener. Go on, Bob. Go for it.
I think obviously there's a lot more to talk about in Devil's Card. You know, a lot more
Yes,
theorising.
yeah,
Obviously,
there is.
we had a little glimmer of snow and a little recap in Space Babies, but Space Babies, me and Debs loved it. We were smiling, laughing, loving it. The whole little concept of these
You know what?
cute little kids. What?
This is going to be
No,
one of
hang
those,
on, John. Go on,
This is
John.
going to be one of those situations where it's, oh, you don't understand if you don't have kids. You've
I'm
turned
not
into one of
saying-
those,
no,
Bob. You've
no,
turned
no,
into
no,
one of
no.
those.
It's
Well,
just
no,
me and
I
you,
am
John,
talking
here.
about
We'll
it.
see what they all
Yeah.
say. But
No, I'm just saying, like, there's loads of stuff, and this is what I thought Russell handled very well from someone I don't think who has children as well. See, I did that thing that you inspired me to do there, John. But it wasn't even that. It was just so funny and cute, and I thought the mouths, yeah, they weren't brilliant, but it was fun. I love the nose blowing. I love the fact we had a snot monster.
Yeah,
It was rolled out. It was a bit rolled out.
Oh,
is what
yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
It was
Oh,
kind of.
yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I'll
You
get
know,
that.
it was kind of like just ridiculous fun. Anyway, it made me and Debs smile and happy.
Yeah,
And she fell asleep. She fell asleep at Devil's Card, and I was a bit like, oh, I can't wait it's over, so I'll go to bed.
Yeah.
But Space Babies, it's not one I go back and really in-depth
No.
review. It
No.
was just a fucking absolute fun, ridiculous romp. Eric was so cute. Poppy was so. It was just so. I thought Ruby was just really good with all the kids and all that. And I thought it was really funny with the nanny voice.
Oh, I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah,
Nanny
that was good.
Yeah,
That was brilliant.
That was really clever, and that made me laugh my head off.
Yeah,
and
it did make
I
me
just was. It made me smile. It made me laugh. And I was like, "That's a great first episode." The first 10 minutes of going back to the dinosaur times. Steps the butterfly, becomes really cool. This weird character.
just
I quite liked. It was just
so
fun.
can the Doctor
Bring
breathe life into any creature, or is it
Apparently
just
so.
a butterfly?
Just butterflies.
Okay,
All
okay.
right.
That's
Here we go. Is this more
Here we
residual
go.
energy?
yeah,
No,
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 residual
no,
energy.
Well, it could have been, but the fact is,
Regeneration.
she's wearing some sort of boots, and she may not have actually killed
Holy
the butterfly.
shit!
Right,
Suky, you're
you
really
might just have been
doing
in the
this?
gap. The doctor picks her up. Right,
No,
if you're
she-
elected, if
no.
the butterfly to die, then maybe the future changes. But he actually,
The future did change. It's all right.
yeah, but the future
so
was
it was
possibly
already dead
changing.
at that point. It was already
No,
dead
no,
at that point. So what happened afterwards to make it
She-
alive?
No, I think he didn't.
I think you're fighting a losing battle. On this
I
one,
think she
Suky.
didn't crush the butterfly.
Then
out
why
of
did she turn into a butterfly?
Yeah,
woman?
exactly.
She,
Yeah, she's
Well,
got
she
this
should
shield
have.
on.
I
She
don't.
should have,
Can I
she should have turned up with like half a wing, and then you
I'm
would have
gonna,
thought, "Oh,
I'm gonna send
I'm
Suki a
gonna,
book
I'm
that
gonna,
says
I'm gonna, I'm
apologist
gonna,
on it.
I'm going to jump to Suki's defence. So, if you
Go on,
remember,
Bob, please.
the 50th Doctor, Shooty Gatwa, has just regenerated, and as we remember with David Tennant and bits like that from previous, they still have the residual.
Yes, that's what I
regeneration
explained it
energy.
by. Yeah, that is what I thought it was, to be
Yeah.
honest. Because
So there
they
you
could
go.
have done with a little yellow glow to
we
explain that,
kind of-
like they did.
Yeah.
before.
Kind of, yeah. I'll allow it.
I don't think
Just
it
to
lasts
move
that
on.
long though. It doesn't
Just
last
so
that
we can
long.
move
It's
on.
already had
Yeah.
a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
I must
know,
admit, the
but-
stuff that you liked, Bob, is the stuff I didn't like. I didn't like the babies. I just couldn't help but not see them as babies being
That's because
wheeled
you
or
don't have
electric wheels.
children, Craig.
I know, darling, I know.
Children.
But and the way they were kind of like, I mean, Eric, God, he looked in constant pain,
You've
like
changed,
he was in
yeah.
agony. Oh no, he's just, I felt
No,
so
it was-
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
No,
that was
I didn't like the babies.
that was uncanny valley for me.
That's
where it just because the mouth thing, it was fair enough, but it looked like it was. You've seen that Superman film with Hoogie Bob's where he had a moustache, but they had
Oh
to
yeah, and he
CGI
had to
out,
remove it.
Oh,
and
Yeah.
Henry
it
Cavill.
fucking ruined the film.
Yeah.
That's similar to, but the effect, it wasn't a big deal. So I'm just
No,
happy
you
to
can let it go.
And the whole concept of the babies on board is just daft, but it's a great little sort of intro.
Yeah, I
to-
like
Yeah.
the idea of
To
the
the
baby
season.
farm. I enjoyed the politics of the baby farm and the company just leaving
Quote,
them.
I
enjoyed
enjoy the
that.
politics of the baby farm.
Better
I
than
like
what you
the
had me
idea-
saying before, eh?
And also I quite like there was mainly fun. It's sort of reference of refugees. You know, they were
Yes.
welcome us, but
Oh
we
yeah,
have to get
I
there.
think that was the
Yeah.
And I
whole
thought,
point.
and I
Of it.
thought
Yeah,
that was quite a cool
Yeah, that was
little
good.
thing. I love
and
how they did it with poo nappies as well.
Doctor Who's done that. Doctor Who's done that so
Shit
many
got
times
going.
in history.
Yeah,
It
and
was-
the, and the
yeah,
fact
yeah.
that he did mention the fact that they can't bring ships out to get you, but you have to get
Yeah.
to there. That
Yes.
was
Yeah, yeah.
the whole point of the thing.
Now we had
Yeah, that's what I
genocide
mean, yeah,
in
it's
both
cool.
episodes as well, didn't we? We had genocide mentioned in both of them. So I'm wondering if
Yeah.
that's going to become
Something
a bit of a
big is coming
recurrent
up.
theme.
Jenny
Yeah.
who?
Genocide.
Genocide.
Who's she? New companion?
Yeah. No,
I
I,
thought-
didn't
I
like
thought-
the. Go on,
Oh, sorry.
go on, Cliff.
I was going to say, I thought the baby one, like I said before, it just felt too much like a Sarah Jane story. It felt too cutesy for what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
But I think
I did enjoy it. Don't get me
I
wrong, I
think you
enjoyed
could
it.
probably. I think you've got to be able to have both these sorts of episodes as well as others.
Yeah,
It
you
needs
gotta
to-
have the-
Yeah.
There's no point in having a single fucking tone all the way through.
No,
the show.
I get it because I do like it when it's lighter, on which I was hoping for.
And he always
artistic
starts
something.
light, doesn't it? Always. I was expecting super light. from these.
Did anybody else want Ruby to breastfeed one of the kids?
Oh, good God.
Just me then.
Right, so we've got past the point where
That's it.
objectifying Ruby. Can I just make one point?
Yeah.
Sarah Jane's calves have got a match with Millie's
Yeah.
legs.
There you go.
So
I think RTD knows that because it makes her wear skirts a lot.
he makes her wear
Um,
skirts in some weird pervy way.
So,
Yes, the game man
Moving
makes us
away-
the girl wear
yeah.
skirts.
Yeah, it'll
moving
come
away
out
from
soon, she's straight.
objectification.
And also,
'cause I never do that.
just to balance the scales, Shooty likes wearing tight trousers and showing off his massive dick. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I've not
Yeah,
noticed
haven't I?
that. Has he actually got a big? I've noticed his chest.
You
I had
haven't
noticed the
noticed it.
button.
You've
I
been
quite
looking-
like the fact that
I'm
Craig
gonna
suddenly
go and
puts his
watch
glasses
it.
back on and look at us. What?
Craig
Yeah, I
has
need
been-
to
There you
go
go.
and watch it.
Craig has been checking out genitals and asses on Doctor
Do
Who
you-
for
do you-
his
in fact, do you
entire
fancy-
life.
Oh God, yes. I can rate them
do you-
episode by episode.
In fact, here we go. Here's a question: Do you fancy Shooty, Craig?
Do you know?
Because he's a very
he's-
strappingly handsome,
Yeah, I
sexy
think
man.
I probably do. Yeah, I think he's the
So
first
you now at
Doctor
last
that-
fancy Doctor Who, yeah?
I still think Jodie as a Doctor was beautiful. But I never fancied her. She was
Yes,
always my best
yeah,
looking
yeah.
Doctor till then.
And
But
she
I
didn't have a
think
dick.
now. She didn't have a dick. Like, look, go and get a dildo. But it's strap on. But it's kind
Here
of
we
like
We're in the review now.
we're going deep in.
Yeah.
on a baby episode.
only
well
helped,
done,
Craig, you only
well
helped.
done, Craig.
Yeah. Right. So but I got to come to something because Bob mentioned before about Shooty not being the Doctor. And he said something that is true, I think, probably for all of us. There's a moment when you think he's the Doctor for me. And he did it in this episode. And that is the moment where the boogeyman was in the airlock.
Yes.
And-
Yeah.
And I actually said, I turned to Matt and I said, the Doctor wouldn't let him die or let it die. And he went in, and that was it. That was the moment that it was Doctor Who for me, because the Doctor, even though it was the boogeyman, didn't let it go. So I really loved that scene. That kind of, after all the negativity of the baby and the idea of the bogeyman, which I didn't like, I liked that. That was Doctor Who. That was proper
It's not a big issue if you didn't like it.
Yeah, it's not a big issue.
It's not a big issue.
That
He
scene
did the
there,
snot joke as well.
that scene where leading up to it, I was thinking they ain't gonna kill this creature. I honestly thought they were maybe to make the show different. They were gonna actually, but the way if they'd have done it, they would have fundamentally changed the character of the Doctor for letting the creature die, and they didn't do it. So fair play to Russell to actually go, yeah, we can't kill this creature.
The Doctor's done it before. We've heard.
He has done it before, but not as cold-heartedly as this.
Oh, I don't know. He has.
And it was very Alien, wasn't it? That kind of it even looked a bit like Alien to me.
It was a good monster. It was a good monster.
I dare say it. It reminded me of Orphan 55, the camera angle shots of the kind of the upfront growling into the camera itself. Although obviously Orphan 55 wasn't a popular story.
It was a very traditional Doctor Who monster suit. It was great for that. It was very retro.
Yeah. But the other thing as well, the amount of snot that was actually flying through the airlock, I wonder how much of it was left.
Might not have all been snot, Suky.
But that was a very funny scene where
in a baby stuff.
Well, no, where Ruby got jizzed on by snot, which is hilarious. But
it's in my hair.
Yeah,
we've all been there.
But I thought that was played so well by both of them. It was really funny when he started realizing it's not, and he just laughed his head off. And I thought that's great. You know, like, and he also kept winding the kids up as well by going boogeyman, like thinking he was funny. In fact, reflecting on this now,
that was really
I think the parts I don't see. Yeah, exactly. I don't. The reason why sometimes he takes me out of it is the babes. You know, the bit of like summer that I don't quite. You know, I think when people do that in real life, I'm a bit like, oh, just shut up.
Yeah. People who
you know,
me, Craig say babes.
I say babes. I say darling, gorgeous, honey.
And I'm thinking, shut up. But but you're different. I know you too, and I ignore you a lot, so that's fine. I can't ignore Doctor Who
we have a coping
television.
mechanism, don't we?
Yeah,
I did reflect on when we last met each other. When you were down here, the very first thing I said to you and Debs was, "Oh, Debs, your hair looks gorgeous." I did reflect on that quite a bit.
Yeah, but you're right, though. You're right. It does. So,
it did look really vibrant, but it was a hype up. Oh, Debs, your hair. So it's that kind of, and then it was all babes, gorgeous. So it is a language that is common. Yeah.
I thought as well. Have you noticing that the Doctor does have more emotions within him in this one? In each episode, you see him either getting welled up, upset, cry.
But he cries, doesn't he? Yeah,
he does.
He's turned into Sonequa Martin Green in Discovery. Just
Oh yeah, touch the Michael Burnhams.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? Like now we're talking about it, and this is why I love doing this podcast. Like I say, I like Suky. I think he's a very cool dude. You know what I mean? And there's parts where I think he's brilliant as acting and whatever. Not quite seeing the Doctor, but now we're talking about it. You know, I am seeing this refreshed Doctor, and I think he's I like him. I like
very much work in progress. He is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's only third story, isn't it? And it's the beginning, it's season openers. Just look at Tennant's first two, things like that. You can see it right through.
Yeah.
It was a massive change of tone, though, compared to.
You can't have another quirky. You can't have another quirky white actor. Playing it the same. Right. We can't go back to that because Jodie was a woman, but very much the Doctor. You know, like very quirky, very doctory, in her own way, in her own take on it. We had to have something different, and we have that. You know, whether people like it or not, we couldn't go back to just I don't know, Tom Hiddleston playing the Doctor or whatever.
But where Jodie was caged in and she never really told anybody what was thinking, he's the opposite. So he's willing to tell more, which is good.
I think with the mental health things, the problem is, especially for men, is they don't talk. You know, and I think talking is pretty well. It has been in my mental health or recovery. Talking is great. As I struggle at it, absolutely. But that's that. If he's giving that example to anyone, you know, open your mouth, tell people how you're feeling.
Yeah, it's
Brilliant.
different world. It's different world.
Yeah.
Every environment. I mean, aside from some stalwart environments like football and stuff like, or army and stuff like that, but most environments you're allowed to be in that sort of middle place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great thing.
A
A
human
great
being.
thing. Yeah.
And I think it's really nice. He is the first Doctor, I think, full stop, that's done that. They've all been caged, haven't they? Right from every single one of them. So it's going to be.
I wonder whether he's going to learn to regret that, or
being too emotional.
He's just covering something up, and he's
yeah. I had a think about that. You know what bit where Ruby goes, "Oh, we can go anywhere," and he goes, "Yeah, but not when you're born." And I thought he knows more than what he's saying.
Yeah, because there was also that comment, wasn't there, that someone's Maestro said, wasn't it? He wasn't there at that time or something. There was a throwaway sentence there as well from Maestro.
The thing as well there with the scenes that set in Church of Ruby Road is that his memory's changed. There's something going on where he had a set memory where the woman walks away. Now
he's pointing at her.
The woman is now pointing at him. So things are changing, and he has told her he is not going to go back to the church. Yet, obviously, something's happening in the past that his memory's changing, which is now affecting him.
Yeah.
Do we think they're going to go back?
Well, I think, right? Like, you know, all these dickheads on YouTube. Well, we're on YouTube as well. Well, we're all the dickheads on YouTube where they say, they've had to get rid of. They've had to get. Oh yeah, sorry, mate. They had to get rid of Ruby for season 2, and they've been forced to get this woman in. It's not. It's all written by RTD. You can tell something big is happening to Ruby.
We had the same thing with Martha, didn't we? When Martha was arguably written out just after 1 year in comparison to Billy Pipe or Rose that was in there for 2.
Yeah, but then she spun off to Torchwood and stuff.
She went to Torchwood and then came back. It was an idea, but the media just like to pick up on something, don't they, and go with it. You know, she's in the 2nd season anyway, I think, isn't she? A little bit, Ruby?
Yeah, she's
YouTubers.
But I think as well,
down the line.
The little glimmers of that as well, because it's sort of just creeping in every now and then. The snow thing was great. You know, the fact, why are we seeing snow? Why are my memories changing? Something's happening, and I really like that. And I think, like I say, Ruby is the on paper great Doctor Who companion, played by a great actress. You know, because I knew her from Coronation Street, and she was good in that. Do you know what I mean? So
I didn't know you were on Coronation Street, Bob.
Oh yeah, I was meant to do Emmerdale on Monday, but I didn't make the cut.
You were holding out for the Archers last time, I heard.
Yeah, well, I'll make a great dingle. So yeah, my acting career is stuttering at the moment. But I've done Ewan McGregor. I was on that Ewan McGregor.
Oh yeah.
Ewan McGregor.
Done Ewan McGregor. So yeah. Anyway, it's all good, I think, in the world of Doctor Who.
So we've got
take charge of this fucking podcast.
I am doing. We've got Stephen Moffat next week, haven't we? So boom.
Yes.
It may be a darker tone, is what I'm kind of expecting.
So what's happening? What's happening next week?
Stephen Moffat.
Next week, it's written by Stephen Moffat.
Oh, he's directing an episode.
Writing
it.
Oh, writing an episode. All right.
Yeah,
and it's come out today, hasn't it? If you've seen it, that he's also written the Christmas episode, which is called, and I've forgotten now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Moffat has, yeah.
And it's called something about Ring the Bells or June. Oh God, Suky, you always know these things.
I don't actually. I know that he's writing the episode. I don't know the title. I didn't know that.
Is it called Jingle Bell End?
No, it's not called Jingle Bell End. No. So that's going to keep some fans very happy and maybe get people in to watch the 3rd one.
Well, I think as well, like going back, and I know you won't agree with Greg, but I've always said it. The best RTD, you know, from his previous era for me were Moffat scripts. Apart from that, Matthew Jacobs one, the Satan's Pit. I think that's probably the best. Yeah, the best. Sorry, the best Tennant episode for me. But I love Moffat's stuff, particularly under RTD. It's great. So I'm excited to see what it's like now after he's been a showrunner. You know, to come back and write on it. I'm fascinated to see what he's done. I think it's going to have to be different for him to go back as well.
Yeah,
you know, it can't. You know,
it'd be seeded from RTD, won't it? Because RTD would say we want to do this with Ruby, blah blah blah, and then he'd do his own bit. So it won't be.
I think last time Moffat wrote, he didn't actually see that much. He just said he was told by RTD, "This is some of the story beats or what I need in the story. You can do whatever you like."
Yeah,
I think that's much anything, and I think this is probably going to be the same here.
Was that the World War II one with the mask?
Yeah, that was
That's
just
it.
introducing Jack, wasn't it? That's the
Yeah.
only thing you
Yeah.
have to do in that one, and then carry on with the story. And
Yeah.
I think other
He
ones
got a
were
double
just
for that one, didn't he? Double episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just 2 episodes.
What I will say, and someone touched on it before, was the beauty of Doctor Who, and I'm glad they're sticking to this because they might not have done. I'll use an example of Torchwood. Is it Miracle Day, the one where it just is the same continuous story all the way through?
Yes, it
Now, I
is.
think where a lot of this Marvel stuff or whatever loses me is the tone is the same every week, and I lose interest by about episode 3 or 4. What I love about Doctor Who, and what I'm really interested to hear what people across out of this country think, who are not Doctor Who fans, who are seeing this for the first time, this fucking crazy show, which is completely different every week. The idea and concept of Doctor Who is mad. It's amazing,
Yeah.
brilliant,
Yeah.
and I love the fact it's different every week because we don't get that in any other TV show.
Those people aren't going to be looking at Doctor Who and thinking, well, he's saying things about Gallifrey a little bit too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah,
going to give
yeah,
a shit.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
as a brand new weird thing that's come out of Britain,
I'd be
reckon
like,
it's-
this is amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah,
it's going to be taken well, I reckon.
The
Yeah.
Disney Plus
I don't like
viewers,
it.
sorry, the Disney Plus viewers, I've only got the David Tennant specials plus the 3
Yes.
Shooty Gatwa
Shooters,
stories,
yeah.
and
I
that's
thought
just
they were
6
putting them
stories.
all on.
They're
No.
not putting anything else on there at all.
Not in
Maybe
this country.
Not in
Or
this,
no-
only in this country. We've got it on iPlayer. Everything's on
Yeah, yeah.
iPlayer. But around the world, they've only got them 6.
But I know for a fact that I'd never seen Doctor Who before, and I was looking for a new TV show because all TV shows have an arc, the same all the way through, and I always get bored of them most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless it's someone like I love, like Game of Thrones, The Lord of the Rings, whatever. But to get something like Doctor Who, and I remember it clear as day from when I was a little kid. The magic of Doctor Who was it's mental, it's crazy, it's a madman in a box, space and time, aliens, all this crazy stuff. Could do something different every week, which these two episodes give a perfect example of, and the Christmas special and whatever else. I just think they're doing something incredibly right on a global scale.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
fuck,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
fuck long-term fans, fuck all that kind of stuff. If you like it,
Sometime-
great. If you don't, whatever.
Yeah, sometimes you're not going to like an episode, but next week it'll be completely
Yeah,
different.
exactly.
Like it.
Yeah.
That's the good
Yeah.
thing about it.
And you can see it build up. On this, I think it's probably time for our 2 words. I think we could just maybe, I don't know if you want to go just for the 2 collectively for this, kind of how you felt overall, or if you want to specify you're doing 2 separate episodes, I don't mind. Suki Dahlia.
I want to say my 2 words quickly before somebody else says them. And my 2 words are dance baby.
Dance Baby. Nice.
Oh,
You've
Dance
gone for- you've gone-
babies.
Okay, Suki, Cliff looks slightly panicked, so I'll come to you last, darling. Bob, 2 words.
Jizz Fest.
Jizz Fest. You're thinking about
You don't know what
Can't
he's
believe-
thinking about, Craig. You don't know what he's thinking about.
It's what he's hoping for after this finish recording. John, darling, your Jizz Fest. Sorry, no, your 2 words.
Musical tragedy.
Musical
Oh.
tragedy.
It's always good.
And
Ooh.
Cliff.
How do you follow John? Jesus. Snotty Beatles.
Snotty
Beatles.
Beatles.
Oh, Snotty Beatles, like it.
Mine is Friendship Intervention because that's what it took me to like them. I know it's not about the episodes,
Oh.
but literally, if you'd have seen me on Saturday night, I hated it. By the time I
Is that because you was just more or less looking forward to Eurovision?
What you
Yes.
should have
No, Eurovision should have paled into
What you should-
insignificance.
what
There's
you
no
should have done,
comparison.
Craig. What you should have done, Craig, is immediately upon you feeling disappointed after the thing, I would have gone straight on Twitter and just fucking slagged it off.
Yeah.
I know,
the
'cause
first thing
you
I
see,
would have done. That's what
Unlike
that's what
Suki, I
reckon.
follow our rules, which is not to talk about it in any
to
public
talk about
John,
it.
domain.
I
That's
follow the
true.
rules. I just make sure that you guys don't actually listen to the podcast or actually be. I'm
Well,
on.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
listening to that custard podcast, whatever it's called, for 20,000 years, and I just didn't tell you about it. No. Anyway, that's our 2 words. So, dear listener, it's time to tune in again next week when we'll be viewing.
It's only,
episode-
by the way, it's only because Craig has to be off at 7:30 that he's trying to wrap it up, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's
a bit
because
longer.
John told me.
He's
to
going
get
out
a
with his
podcast.
friends, his real friends.
I'm going out to.
Yeah, today.
Yeah, no, I'm going on a podcast. No, I'm not. Right, then, listeners, we shall see you next week for our review of Boom. Until then, enjoy Saturday night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Stop recording.
I don't know. I'm trying to work it out.